This is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and beyond. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. Be sure to like the video.
No matter how hard
Subscribing is great as well.
Find a trace of his co-workers.
You're Stanley. It's an adventure. It's a journey. Where is everyone? What happened? What's going on? It's that sort of mystery and excitement that'll make you try to figure out why you hate Mondays. And it's not because you're a cat, I guess.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It's guided. They can tell you what to do, and you can choose to do it or choose not to. I'm breaking all the rules.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to.
I feel like I played the I think I played the original version of this back in the day, which is kind of funny. Anyways, yeah, 4K resolution, 60 FPS.
It had really been worth the detour after all. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Or I could stop listening to the system.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
It's kind of entertaining, isn't it? But what if I want to go back and make a different choice? I can't. The path is chosen.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? In the middle of something you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay. I'm gonna trust you, voice in my head.
Thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
So do I.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
But which door? That is kind of pleasant.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
So anyways, this game, very thought-provoking, dramatic, exciting.
Here, yes. Oh,
Ooh.
it's beautiful, isn't it?
Especially if you've never seen this
Stay
before.
Right here, right
New
in this
choices.
moment with
The
this
labyrinth
place.
expands.
Stanley, I think I feel happy.
Oh, do you?
I actually feel happy.
No, I feel kind of tired and sick, to be honest with you. Anything else gonna happen here? Woo! Cool. This is actually a really neat game if you've never played it. Like, honestly, it's got some neat stuff to it. It's not really like a game that you, like, win or, like, play through, if that makes sense. Like, you're not trying to, like, necessarily beat anything, but it's, like, it's a journey. It's a journey. Like that time in The Sopranos where they didn't stop believing.
No, wait. Where are you going?
Is the show going on?
Where were we?
It is actually kind of, like, majestic. But I feel like nothing happens if we stop moving. We need to move to progress things. That's how narratives work. Or do they? Ooh. It's very clean, like, visually and stuff like that.
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Lose all of
Please,
what?
no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Please, Stanley, think.
No! Oh, thank God you lived.
Let's try it again.
Worried there for no. What are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Whee!
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
The narration in this is fantastic.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be you're literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
Yes.
Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know any. Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
It's actually
I wanted us
beautiful.
to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
Why? Is it not anymore? Sometimes you just gotta soak it in. Sometimes you just gotta soak it in. This is replaying. I feel like I'm trapped, and it's a nightmare. And there's no escaping. Why won't a new door open? Why won't a new path be visible for me to enter it? Why do I question all these things? What did I do to deserve all this?
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Back and do it again. Wheels turning round and round. It's a bright new day in the
What could
office.
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And where will this take me?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Monetize free to play. Brand synergy.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, this is a snazzy area.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Don't really have a choice here, do I? It's very Portal-like, eh? Aperture science. We do what we can. We do what we must because we can.
Descending deeper into the
For
building,
the good
Stanley
of all
realized he
of
felt a
us.
bit peculiar.
Except the ones who are
It
dead.
was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
And why is
Stanley walked
that?
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I hope so.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
What a neat
At
game.
this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Well, we all gotta face death someday, right? Whee! That's what the Emperor must have felt.
As the machine
We stepped
whirred
into half-life.
Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise. It reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he
I mean, it would
resigned
still
and
hurt
willingly
a lot.
accepted this private end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Very well, voice in my head. What's in your head now?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
I had it coming.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Microsoft Solitaire. And what is the point of any of it? Too jokey. That would have been hilarious. See, isn't it kind of trippy? I bet you're curious on where we're going, or what's gonna happen. Freedom ending.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game.
My
As long as
PlayStation?
you move forward, you'll be walking
That's what I'm on right
someone
now?
else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Oh, I wasn't fast enough. The PlayStation doesn't like it when you abruptly unplug its cords. It gives you a talking to as if it's the rat mole thing from Animal Crossing. From OG back in the day.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What does it mean?
Stanley decided to go...
The numbers, Mason, what do they
Perhaps
mean?
he had simply missed a memo.
What are they? Who are they?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the...
Did the VRR just kick on and off on my TV? What the? Okay, well that was interesting. I thought it was the game doing that.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
That really tripped me out there for a
Stanley
second.
decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
But what's in the garage?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
It is a bad
All
economy.
because
Yeah.
he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no
That's a good
reason
point.
at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
It's a good
Why
point.
did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Electronic?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. But simply repeated. No,
This game's kind of
Stanley said to
entertaining.
himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream.
I'm dreaming. This is all a dream.
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
I
Then he
believe I can
imagined
fly.
himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm
good so.
dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
That's deep.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please,
It's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife